These old magazines have got the best stuff. The ads and the pictures and the cultural references of what it was like then. I mean, it's perfect. I just love it. I just love these old frickin' ads and these old recipes and these old, uh, ladies' home style magazines. Because they were, aimed at ladies, not trying to be, a sexist person or whatever. I totally get that we're in different times, but we weren't in different times then, and it's hilarious. Okay? It's hilarious. The woman's place was cleaning and cooking, and that's what these magazines are geared towards, except for the cool cars every now and then, which I just love the old cars. Um, but yeah, these are a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun going through them. I had a lot of fun cutting them up. I think I cut, I think I harvested most of these magazines a long time ago when this retro journal thing first came to fruition. It might have been last summer even that I started that mess. So yeah, I think I harvested these magazines a long time ago. I'm basically going through and trying to figure out what would fit. I'm sorry, cars go by and I'm outside, so it's loud because they go by in like a valley and I'm up on the hill and you can just hear them very loudly. The trucks, anyway, the pickup trucks, you can really hear like super loudly. But yeah, so anyway, those images are really cool and they are going to work awesome for this retro project. I have this like way sped up because it is so boring, but I've never done any kind of video where I'm putting together a journal. So I'm doing this just to prove to you that I can do it. Okay? I totally can do it. But I do not have any video of me binding it because me and binding, it's kind of a mess. It's kind of turns into a nightmare. So I do the binding on my own. Um, I trim these pages. Do I measure them up some kind of fancy way? Absolutely not. I trim the bottoms because they're really big for that book, and I trim a few of the edges of the scrapbook paper pieces you saw me just add into those signatures because they stick out a little bit and it's like not pretty. Just I just don't like that when it's all sticky outy. So I just fix it up a little bit. Those are my long pages, 3 or 4 pages. I cut through all of them. Da la ti da. I know everybody's like, oh, you should cut one page at a time. Because, like, I know that in high school, I took the printing shop. I was in graphic design, and I learned how to run a printing press. And you are supposed to fold things one at a time, and unless you're doing a ream of paper or something, you should be cutting things one at a time. I don't want to hear your lectures. I absolutely know it's how it's supposed to go, and I promise these came out just fine. Okay, they came out just fine. But the pages and the paper I used was so much fun. I have paper in there from, wrapping paper and paper from my stash. You're going to get a full flip through. You're going to get a full flip through, so calm your britches. It's coming. It's coming from a flip through Friday. So just be on the lookout. I'm going to go through all 4 of them real quick for that video. My stinking foot on that cutter comes off all the time. I don't know why. I even lost it for a while. I don't know why. It just goes. The foot on my paper cutter. So, yeah, that's how.
Is it shaped like a foot?
No, it's just what holds the paper cutter down. Keeps it still on the surface, on the table. And I use those scraps. You saw my recent scrappy book video, little reel on Instagram, the little short I did on YouTube. Those are all the scraps I used in there. So, save your scraps. Put them to use right away or else they're going to accumulate. I know because I've got lots of accumulated scraps. So the small ones are awesome for that scrappy book and you can turn those pages into whatever you want to. And you can, I completely forgot what I was just going to say. But anyway, I have that phone book that I like to glue things into and, I try and get the scraps in there right away so that they don't pile up. I've saved all the scraps from this project, and I did like, I don't know, 6 or 7 pages in that phone book with it all. One side. I only do one side because then the other side I can glue to something. I can glue to a backing and make a tag, you know, or I can turn it into a page. I can do whatever. These children, these cartoony things, it's just, these magazines are just so awesome. I love it. In this video, I screw up. I start to kind of lose my, not my mojo, but you know, sometimes you really want to create and your hands just aren't doing things right and you start screwing things up. Well, that's how this video turns out. I end up having to fix a lot of stuff. I end up having to go through and fix a lot of stuff. So I do, you know, I go and I fix whatever needs to be done, but it ends up taking me like twice as long to do this video because, not twice as long, but it takes me a little bit longer on this project because I just kept screwing up and I just kept having to fix things. Some of it turned into happy accidents that I fixed and it looked better afterwards, which you will see. I love the colorful Kleenex toilet paper.
Kleenex toilet paper.
See, it's colored pink and green. Used to get colored toilet paper. They had scented toilet paper too. Imagine that. I bet you that just smelled horrible.
Butt and then just smell it and you'd be like, oh, it just doesn't even smell like poop.
No, I doubt that. I doubt that it was that powerful, but yeah, scented a little bit anyway. Sorry for the disgusting talk. That's my daughter. When
hey
you're
guys,
a child.
What's going on? My name is Lillian Plant, doing a lovely, whatever she's doing.
Voiceover.
Yeah.
This is the title page from this book, and I include it, and I use a piece of paper that I dyed, and like, you know, sometimes when you dye paper, and some of them rip when they're wet, well, that was one of those papers. So it worked perfect for this, and I used it for this, and then I punched my corners. I love my corner rounders. I think I have a link to that below. I will leave a link below. And then I just glue this little, I don't know, it's like a carpet ad. So yeah, I just glued the little ad in there, little pictures. And then this little thing that was in there too. You know, I just tried to put as much of the little 50s bits in there. I didn't do ephemera, and I'm going to tell you why. My heart wasn't feeling ephemera. I think a big part of that is because my ephemera is so scattered right now, so I'd have a hard time finding it. But you know, someday I could put together an ephemera pack. So if someone does buy these journals and wants an ephemera pack, I can definitely put one together. It's just gonna, you know, take me like a day to do because like I said, my stuff is all scattered and crammed into itty bitty places. Crammed all together and stuff. So yeah. I include images from the books in these journals too. I end up making 4 journals. You only see me playing in one because it's repetitive. The other ones were all the same stuff. And like I said, you're going to get a full flip through. You're going to get a flip through on Flip Through Friday. So that's my backup singer. Car ad in the center of the page. In the center of the signature, abso-friggin-lutely. I love me some car ads. I love me some old cars. My dad had a 1969 Cadillac, and when he died, obviously it went to me. And although I did not keep it because I don't think I could love it the way it needed to be loved, it doesn't mean that I didn't love it at all, because I did love it. It was a sweet car. The seats were so squishy, and it rode like you'd go over the bumps and it would feel like you're going over a wave, you know, like in the ocean. And I used to call it a boat. My dad didn't call it a boat, but it definitely was a boat. I had no fear of flooding because if we had some kind of a major flood, I'd be able to get around in that thing. Trust me. Trust me when I say. One thing I did with this particular journal that I didn't do with the other 3, and I kind of wish I did, I decorated these pages before I sewed the spine, before I bound it. So I kind of wish I did that with the other ones. It kind of screwed me up on some of the pictures I tried to put in, but I made it work. So that's, you know, that's all I can do. But I do like, I do like in general how these came out. And I did do a hidden spine on them. The what I used for a spine were manila folders, and I made the strips for the spine, and I glued 2 strips together and then punched through that with my awl, and it worked out just fine. So that was my first time doing a hidden spine. So I'm just telling you what I did because it worked out really good. And I just eyeballed, I put together I made dots where I wanted to punch the signatures. I just eyeballed it. I didn't measure it up perfectly. I went where I know it would make sense on the hidden spine piece. So yeah, you don't have to be super precise because I'm not super precise, and look at how amazing I do. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. So yeah, these were some pictures from an encyclopedia I harvested that was from the 50s. And I had a lot of fun, and I cut the pictures out of the encyclopedia, and I kept the little blurbs about the pictures because it's really informational stuff. Like, some of it is really cool, the beginning of tap dancing, or some bridge somewhere. It's just pretty cool. So I left the little blurbs. I like to put things that might spark a little interest or creativity in somebody. I love that ribbon. Got a huge roll of that ribbon. It works awesome for this retro style because it's totally the exact kind of fabric that somebody had as curtains hanging in their kitchen. So yeah, I love that ribbon. I'm gonna try sewing it into like ruffles or something. I figured that would be pretty cool. This flower just goes with this yellow paper. I love it. Love it. That's yellow paper that I got from Amy at Darkwood Sanctuary on Etsy. My Flip Through Friday will have her link in it. I will be tagging her in that video so that you can see what she does and what she's all about. She creates gorgeous dyed papers and dyed ephemera pieces. I've gotten some tea dyed stuff, and it included time cards and envelopes and all kinds of fun things. So yeah, if you're looking for dyed paper and you don't feel like doing it yourself, she really is a professional at it. She does a great job, and the papers feel wonderful. They feel right. They're nice. They're not dried out like they would be if you had them in an oven. This is about the time where I kind of started screwing things up. I had cut that picture out, and then I said, I kind of want to put something underneath it. So I glued this piece, and I was going to stick it underneath where I cut with my decorative scissors. So I lifted that up, and I stuck that in there, and it got stuck in there crooked. So I rip it off, and it left a piece of paper. So I tried to piece it together from there, and it worked, but it wasn't, I was starting to get flustered, and I'm leaving this in because you can see that you can see some of the mistakes I make, so you don't get discouraged if you make similar mistakes, and it screws you up because I could have easily just walked away at this point, but I finished what I was doing. I finished the part that I was working on. That's a fabric washi tape. I don't remember. I don't think I bought that. I think that was sent to me. And I tried to make it kind of like into a little tab, and it came out kind of crooked. So, but it works, I guess, but you can see it's a little crooked. So yeah, I left all the things in here that I screwed up. But the problem is, sometimes I get going and I screw one thing up, and I do become too flustered, and I just keep screwing things up. So I did stop this part of the video in a little bit, you'll see, because this was my breaking point, this woman, but it ended up coming out really good. So I had some glue on her, and it left a streak, so I wiped it with a baby wipe, and as you can see, it took some of the black ink off. So I said, well, I'm gonna just napkin over her, and she will be like sheer, in an opaque background, So I put glue, I rubbed it in with my finger so it didn't leave the lines from the glue stick. I glued that on really good. I patted it down with the wet baby wipe so the moisture of the baby wipe would help adhere it a little bit better. I left it to dry while I did some more, I added a few more things. I pretty much embellished this whole thing on this video. I don't think there was a whole lot that I left undone after, when I stopped this part of the video. So it's all I pretty much got it all embellished. So I then take my wet glue in the jar and I go over it, and it comes out so awesome, which you will see in my flip through. But yeah, my flip through is coming soon. These are the finished ones that I took a quick little video of last night, and you'll be seeing the progress. So thank you all for hanging out. Ta-ta for now.